So here we are, Autosport 2025 at the Birmingham NEC. This is a touring car magazine, touring car recap. There are a couple of TCR and a couple of BTCC people to speak to. See if we can find out some interesting stories from this year. Possibly. Rowbottom at the Autosport Show.
Yep.
How's your health?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. Obviously, I'm 8 weeks post-op. Feel great.
Yeah?
It's good.
Are you back on normal food? And
Yeah. Mate, it didn't take long. I was only in hospital for a total of 4 days, so including the operation itself.
Yeah.
They got me home. Obviously, there's less risk of infection. And obviously with open heart surgery, the biggest risk is infection, because I've had one valve replaced and one fixed.
Yeah.
And if I get a infection that gets to the heart, then I've got to have the valve changed as a matter of caution. So, but yeah, I'm fine. I can start training now, so I'm going to start cardio on Monday.
Yeah.
And then I can start on weights. Not that I did many weights before, but I can start weight training in another 4 weeks. So be ready for the season. Can't wait.
Also, you're going to be ready. Are you going to be ready for pre-season testing as well?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. If I was really pushed, I could probably drive a car now.
Right. Yeah.
But that may cause some damage, so I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
But yeah, another 4 weeks, I'll be spick and span. So it's great.
Was it good getting lots of messages from the fans for support?
I mean, it really brings home the fan base that we have. They're amazing people. I came round from the surgery to hundreds, maybe hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I can't reply to them all. So anyone that sent a message, I'm not replied. I'm not rude. I just can't get through them all. But yeah, no, it's great, and it's a real testament to how good the BTCC is and the fan base that we have.
Yeah, I know you can't say anything about this year. It's funny that this year it seems like nobody can say anything about this year. Yeah,
I mean, look, my expectations are to be doing exactly the same. Obviously, the team, the guys in Apparatus UK have been uber supportive. Really checking in and taking care of me and making sure I'm all good, which is fantastic. Great support. But ultimately, if something happens and I can't race, then they'll have to find an alternative. But I've got high expectations of everything.
Yeah. Was last season a disappointment with no win?
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, not just no win, just the whole year was just shocking. It's it's one of those things. You seem to have them. We've had a couple of hard years now, if I'm honest. It's just time we had a hard, half decent one. I think there's a lot of pressures on in BTCC now. You've got to have a really clean year to win it. Yeah. And probably my biggest failing maybe is I do the business side really, really well. We've had great success. My long-term partners, Cataclean, are working really well with Napa, which is fantastic. And obviously last year we won the tender with QuickFit, which is a title championship sponsor. So we've got a really nice synergy between some great businesses. And I'm heavily involved in that. Yeah. And ultimately, I probably spend too long thinking about that. And sometimes I carry it into race weekends. Sometimes you'll find me on a Friday and Saturday still doing business stuff. And I need to stop doing that. So that's sort of a New Year's resolution for me. Yeah. Just focus on driving the car and see what we can do. I firmly believe that there's a lot of drivers on that grid capable of winning that championship. Yeah. But you need everything to line up perfectly. Everybody talk, just take Ash for example, right? Everybody says how he's on a different level. I raced with the guy, I know how good he is, but he couldn't win last year in kit that wasn't anything other than absolutely right. So it just shows that it's not just down to driver anymore. Everything's got to be right, whether it's a chassis, the aero package, the engine. There's lots of different things in touring car to consider. So I think, the guys are working hard back at base from what I understand, a few developments. But we won't know until qualifying round.
What about the new regulations? Is there anything in there in particular that you think that you can use to your advantage that'll suit you more?
Well, I think dumping the hybrid will be good.
Will that be more the weight rather than the power?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, obviously we've still got push to pass, which will be done through the engine. Yeah. We're now using this new sustainable fuel, so let's have at it. Let's get it. Get it used. Yeah. But ultimately, the hybrid was a really good exercise to do. And I think it was really important. I think BTC was the first championship to do that globally, which is really, really, I think, important for what we stand for. But ultimately, the cars never felt the same. If you were to jump in a very late NGT, say 2021 car, they were unbelievable. So, you know, really, really pointy, stopped really well. The cars behave in a different way. And the hybrid cars, maybe it was just a personal thing. I never felt that. So I'm really excited to get back in a car that feels nimble and really nice under your feet. So for me, personally, I think it's great. I can't wait.
Touring Car Magazine. Our 2024 Touring Car photo books are available now. For only £12.50, pick your favorite and browse 40 full-color pages in A4. Available from the Touring Car Magazine website. See link in the description.
...2024, did it deliver what you expected?
Yeah, it was... disappointed because of a few things that happened to do with my crash and sickness, and with the probably most people never called up on it, that during Snetterton I got E. coli, and that lost me 2 rounds because I don't know, people don't know, but I didn't know, but E. coli gives you kidney damage. So I had real problem. I'm all recovered now, but that kind of knocked me out. And then obviously the Thruxton thing wasn't a good, didn't help. So because I went into Brands, had one of my best results there, came 12th, I think it was, had some great fights at Brands Indy. And then I never got back to that pace again until Silverstone. So like it felt like I'd missed middle of the season because of various injuries and sickness. I was never quite there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was just a bit of a one of those missed opportunities to make progress. So yeah, unfinished business as far as I'm concerned.
I noticed you had a certain Mr. Plato there for the last few rounds as well. And he was being highly critical. Was he a hard taskmaster to please?
No, we were just enjoying ourselves. You know, if you remember with the first round I ever did, in the, was it 21?
21 at Croft.
I got to, first speak to him then, which is, always a privilege with a legend that is Jason. It was just nice to have him there, mentoring me. He was, of course he was pushing me, but you would expect that if he's, but actually his presence was more, let's go and do some fun things, let's create some great footage. Lovely to have him back in the paddock more than anything, and I hope we'll see more of him again this year.
And it's funny talking about Croft in 2021 because I remember talking to you there, but I've got this fantastic photo, and it's you on the Toka truck in the pit lane before it was about to go out and do its, as it did back then, the lap around. And the beam and smile on your face.
Oh yeah. That day I couldn't stop smiling. That was clearly at the time that was 2 years while I was still doing British GTs, so getting the opportunity to just even do it for one round was still a tick in the box. Never knowing that I would then ultimately get to do a full season. You get a bit of a reset because it's like, to me, Jason, Colin, are legends to me. So when you first get out on circuit, I'm sure you get it from talking to some of the youngsters coming in, it's like suddenly find yourself door to door with Colin Turkington, and it's like, whoa. This is a bit mental.
Yeah. Is it intimidating them first few times you go out into a practice session? You've got these guys coming up behind you, flashing lights.
No. Because if you're a good, if you've raced enough, I guess the biggest shock to me, probably when on Croft, even doing one round at least got me into the flavour of it, was what qualifying was like. I mean, it's been toned down because of the way the format now, because obviously there's less cars on it, but it was, qualifying used to be like so visceral in like everyone just throwing the car at the scenery. I remember going around Croft and finding Colin halfway off the circuit multiple times in front of me going, fuck it, I'm like, Colin, what the hell are you doing? It's like, but then it wasn't just him, it was like, everyone pushes the limits so far that people come off. It's not like GTs. It's not like about precision racing. It's about testing, and you've only got a short time to go and test those limits. So it was like, wow, you guys are all crazy. But then once you're in it, you're kind of used to that kind of, so no, the actual rubbing and, flashing and all the rest of it, everyone's a professional driver, everyone can see in their mirrors, and that's the big change to something like British GT that I got a bit frankly fed up with, was the level, and then, drivers, you try and make a move and they just clumsily, drive into you because they're not looking in the mirrors. You never get that. We all know where everyone else is. You've got to be able to drive at a level where you're door to door at 140 mile an hour. And have that confidence that everyone knows where everyone else is. And so that's and that's what I love about it is the level is just amazing.
This year then. You're not going to tell us anything, are you?
No, afraid
so
not.
Instead of asking you about this year, because I know it's pointless, obviously Crazy Kart's been a really big thing and it's been a fantastic engagement for fans at the circuit.
Yeah.
You got big plans for this year with it?
Yes, it will be bigger and better because, we planned a little, it's Crazy Karts, we don't do much planning, but we did plan a bit. And obviously the fans loved it. We did really special stuff. We went to Monaco with it. We have other sort of, and we might be introducing some new vehicles. That would be the big innovation for this year. Is not just be about the Crazy Karts. But yesterday, unfortunately, because you get very few touring car drivers here on the weekend. But on the Friday, everyone's here talking business. So we got 8 drivers together yesterday to do a race. So we've already done the sort of round 1 for a bit of fun.
Is that an official championship standard?
No. But the point system never made any. It was all made up. Let's face it. It's very hard to keep track of who's actually in the front. But it's going to be. It's been amazing to see how much fan engagement we've had. The fans love it. They get to see the drivers, and that was always my purpose, was let's see the faces of the drivers, and that's what's missing a little bit from touring cars, and that's what we brought, and hopefully we'll bring more of that, because that's what influence is about these days, is you get to see the personalities.
Yes.
And you get to see those. We get such great photos of people with great huge smiles. You don't see that in the car, do you?
No.
Everything, people just don't get that much engagement. So I've loved doing it. We'll do it even bigger. It's officially recognised by TOCA. It's in the programme. All the circuits love what we do, helps them promote things. So and Razor continue to want to do bigger and better. So thanks to them, we'll do it even better.
If you don't read the Touring Car Magazine website, you're missing all the good shit. So go to touringcarmagazine.co.uk to get the latest touring car news.
2025, I'm hearing numbers around about 20 cars. Would that be right?
Yeah. We've had to reinvent the wheel. I said all along, we were on our last 12 months with BRSCC. We'd done it to death. We honoured our contract, and there was no horror stories there. Everyone got paid, and but the TCR needs to move forward. I think what it did, it had its peaks for 2 years where we had some great grids, and it was we had some good drivers, and then I think the BRSCC situation, although the support races there benefited from TCR, I think TCR didn't benefit from where it was. Some of the meetings were there wasn't enough spectators, and lots of things really. So we took the decision to move to Bark, because from where I was standing, Bark are running most of the major events in UK motorsport, with where all the spectators are, like British Touring Car, like truck racing, Super Tourers, stuff like that. So we had to look at the fixture list from a calendar point of view, where we went back to some more relevant tracks, like Donington. So when we put the calendar out, whereas 12 months previous there was a lot of flack about the calendar, all of a sudden everyone went, oh, well, that calendar looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So, we have ticked a box with the calendar. And I think the actual package that we've put together, so we've got juniors still with us, we've got Civic Cup, but we're part of meetings that including British GT, trucks, Super Tourers, and also we're going to be going to Spa now as part of TCR Europe. There's always going to be it's going to be a big event, and and for the good of the grid, where people need to find sponsors, we need to justify the cost of doing it. It needs to be on a bigger platform.
Yeah.
It's not a club. It's in between. It's got its own identity, but it's not a club race.
Yeah.
So the extra cost, it needs to have an audience, and that's why we've moved forward. So
now this year you've got a bit of a junior thing going on.
Yeah.
I think that's something that TCR, even going back to, I remember talking to you back in 2019 when you launched the Touring Car Trophy. One of the ideas behind it was bringing young people in, young racers at a price point that was sensible. You've got a couple of drivers coming in with Power Max racing, and you've got a full junior program going on. What was the decision behind that?
Yeah, well, I recognise that we can't rely on certain types of drivers. There was never going to be people from BTC going to come to us because they see it as a step down. They might see it as a step sideways one day, but look, at the end of the day, it's about money. And I thought, well, how do we get kids in it? I'm involved heavily with the British Karting Championships because my son races in it.
Yeah.
We've met a lot of people. There's hundreds of drivers there, and they're all asking, when they realised that I was involved in cars, they're asking me, well, how's their kid going to move forward in car racing? So I thought with the Hyundai, there's a lot of Hyundai i30Ns out there which are a reasonable price. I thought, well, if I can create a Hyundai supported junior team, because we deal with Hyundai in the UK.
Yeah.
And then get some young kids in, and we've put an age block on it. We've put a fixed cost on it, and I was hoping to get a couple of drivers, but we might get 6 by the look of it. Because we've done some taster days. Because once the kid's driven the car, he realises that the car's probably the best thing he's ever going to get in.
Yeah.
Because they are great things.
Yeah.
And it's working, and we will find. Well, we've got some new drivers. We've already got 3 signed up, and I'd like at least 1 more, maybe 3 more.
Yeah.
There's another taster day coming up. So that's just a little project for me, because I'm mindful of my son. He's doing really well in the karting arena. When he's 16, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
And these things are ideal for that kind of driver. We can't just rely on old people driving them. We need a youth policy.
So does that mean you're not driving this year?
Yeah, well, yeah. I was there. I was there. I was filling the numbers up,
Yeah.
But it was difficult for me to race in my own race. I can't go near anyone, touch anyone. I can't race properly.
Yeah.
Although I did race, I thought, reasonably well.
Yeah.
And I hadn't raced for a long time, but I need to be in a situation where I'm just running the meeting 100%, and then but I've got an opportunity now. I've done a sub-licensed deal with 750MC to run the older TCR cars.
Yeah.
I can go and race there now and race normally, which I will be doing. So
Yeah.
that's part of that plan.
Well, that kind of brings in the elephant in the room. I don't know what you want to or can see on camera, but obviously there's been a lot of hassle over the homologation and licensing with the World Sporting Consultant. It seemed from the outside initially that was having a negative effect on TCR UK, but I think having spoken to drivers and teams and whatnot, those who want to race are going to race within the championship. But what have you got to say about this Ultimate Racing Championship, or is that something you'd rather?
Well, no, there's no. I'm not. We're not hiding anything. Look, at the end of the day, a stake was put in the ground. The business model at MSUK is, they want as many drivers out there as possible, so they keep issuing permits for different championships. There's a lot of cloning going on. There's a lot of copycat series, which I'm not in favour of.
Yeah.
I've already had Civic Cup got cloned 2 or 3 years ago by the same organisation. you know. And I thought, well, okay, then fine, you know. But Civic Cup's quite strong, so you know it's always going to do well.
Yeah.
Then the intimation that there's going to be another TCR touring car race. Well, I don't own TCR. We're a licence holder in the UK. It's a worldwide global product that's owned by WSC, World Sporting Council. They own the rights to everything. They own the rights for the manufacturers to allow them to make cars. This is not a small, insignificant situation.
Yeah.
And then when someone's trying to copy, clone, replicate, however you want to term it up, call themselves something, use IP pictures and they've overstepped the mark. You know, 100% overstepped the mark. I don't know why a permit was sanctioned. Should never have been sanctioned.
Yeah.
It's caused a lot of commotion in the industry because behind the scenes, you know, it's not just we've got staff that we need to pay. There's sponsors. There's suppliers. You know, it's caused. This isn't a club championship where someone's running it on a weekend as a hobby.
Yeah.
We've been working with MS UK. I'm not anti-MS UK.
Yeah.
I need to work with MS UK because they're important, obviously, to everybody for what we're doing. But, you know, we've got obligations, we've got IP rights, and it was never about the people that own the cars. You know, I got a bit of flack on the internet for the initial post, but now we've sanctioned 750MC to run older cars. You know, there are obviously older cars elsewhere that need to be looked at. I've reached out to people to ring me to talk about what their options are. We're doing something with TCR UK where the older cars can be more relevant as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not anyone else's train set. Belongs to Marcello Lotti. They will defend their interests. You know, if someone wants to race in this time attack, whatever it is, and they want to take their TCR car there and race there, it won't be a TCR car anymore.
Yeah.
So they can.
Yeah.
But if they've invested 80 grand in a car and it's got no homologation papers, it can't race anywhere else, then that's their decision.
Yeah.
But we're opening up to make sure that they've got places to race.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone turns around to me and says, well, I don't want to race in TCR UK, I don't want to race in 750, and I don't want to race it wherever. I want to race there with my car, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, they're right, they can go and race there, but it won't be called a TCR car anymore because it's, to us, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and if someone don't like that decision, it's a business thing. But, you know, we've got a family of people around us, and we're working with people that want to work with us. We've got good customers, good sponsors, and it's all about moving forward as we are now with VAR. It's about doing the right thing. I've never stolen anything in my life. I've run a lot of championships over the last few years. Volkswagen Cup, VAG Trophy, Golf GTI Cup, Civic Cup. The common denominator is, when I decided I wanted to run the Volkswagen Cup, I approached Sam Roach at Racing Line and I bought it off him. I did it properly. I didn't try and clone it, copy it. You know, there's ways of doing things, and like the way it's come about hasn't been done properly.
Yeah.
You know, no one's come to me and said, "Do you want to sell TCR to me?"
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But to be fair, when all's said and done, the positives are outweighing the negatives. Our customers are going to be loyal. And I think with the way we've structured it all now, with these new support races, JSCC, and, you know, we're running on 3-day formats. You know, I keep having it, you know, there's thousands of people here. And, you know, well, I ain't being funny, but there's 30, 40,000 watching the races that we're going to be at. Yeah. You know, so we've ticked. The only box that people can say that we haven't ticked this year will be that we're not on ITV.
Yeah.
That's it now, isn't it? But I've got views on that anyway.
Yeah.
I think, you know, most of the kids and all the rest of it, they're on YouTube. They're not on, you know, I'm not going to get into the debate about TV. And I think the ITV concept is good because of the quality of it and that. But, you know, we can't afford to be on ITV. Yeah. But we can try and make the social media and the YouTube and the videos and the TikTok's getting bigger for us. We're, you know, the kids and that we're trying to attract, you know, I don't think they watch terrestrial telly anymore.
This year, though, Spa.
Yeah.
Is that something you're excited about?
Yeah. Well, we were supposed to be running a world tour at
Oulton Park.
And with the fallout, that has been shelved for 12 months. Because Marcello does not want to invest any money into the UK while this problems are happening.
So is there a possibility of this in 2026?
2026. He said that we'll revisit it. I mean, it took me a lot of that time and effort because to bring the world tour to the UK, it's not like, oh, we're just going to turn up and run a race meeting. You know, it's like £250,000 to run the meeting. That's a lot of investment for Marcello.
This is a conversation that I've had with you over the last 5 or 6 years about bringing World Tour, or what was TCR, what was World Touring Cars.
So we were all disappointed when he said he ain't coming, Stu. It's going, I think it's going somewhere else in Spain or something. But he said, but I will give you space on the grid at Spa as part of TCR Europe as an alternative, which I think is a good gesture from him. You know, he didn't have to do that. Because they run TCR Europe as well on their own. And then he has given me another thing where if any of our drivers want to do a world tour round, I can help them achieve that and give them the opportunity to go to Spain or, you know, I mean, I don't think they're going to want to go to Mexico or something, you know. So, look, we're not against anybody who's got a TCR car. That needs to be stated out. This is just a commercial problem that I think it's already starting to go away. And I think, you know, the bigger picture for everyone that we're doing, you know, we're consistent in what we do. Everyone can see that. I haven't had one person. I know there was a bit of stuff on the internet from uninformed people. I think, you know, people
who read the headline but don't read the article. As I know. But
I think, you know, people who know us as a business and know what we're doing for motorsport and what all the stuff that we try and help people out. You know, they're not on. They see, because they don't want to be the next person. I mean, you know, if you are, because as I said before, Civic Cup, TCR, who's next? Fun Cup, Mazda Cup.
Yeah.
Well, who's going to get copied next?
Mazda have been. Mazdas and Caterham's always copy.
It's an industry problem, but I'm sure that you know, MSUK as a governing body, I think that they will probably make things better for everybody anyway. I mean, you know, I've met up with the guys there. They're very professional people, you know, and the last thing I want is conflict with MSUK, because, you know, there's some good people up there and I want to work with them. You know?
But this year, I think one criticism that has come from a couple of drivers is there's a couple of gaps towards the back end of the year. Do you kind of wish that you'd been able to flesh out post Oulton Park a little bit?
Yeah, well, to be fair, and there may be an opportunity for us to run a one-off meeting which is not championship related, just to get a few cars out. I might come up with something. I'm not adverse. I mean, if things are settled and we've got decent grids and whatever, it's easy for me to add in the odd meeting and I say, well, let's have a bit of a two-man meeting, or just something that, you know, we can all have a race and enjoy it, and it's not too much money, and, you know, it fills a gap in the summer. But
and new cars. I mean, it just kind of like shows the viability of the championship, that people still want to bring. Once upon a time, people didn't want to bring new cars to the UK. So, I mean, that's kind of like a win over the last couple of years to have cars like this arriving.
Well, you know, Steve and his son, you know, they've invested a lot of money into racing a TCR car, and you know, and look, there's no guarantee that car's going to win. I think it's going to be somewhere like, but, you know, as you know, all the cars are the same, aren't they? You can win in anything. I mean, Newsham's winning in a 6-7-year-old car, and they're great cars, the Hyundais. And then you can get in an Audi, you can get in this Cupra. There's the one previous. At the minute, it seems to be as good as anything out there. And you know, you can buy one of them. You don't need to be in an 120 grand one. You can be in a 50, 60 grand one. And as long as it's prepped right, and you got the right people on it, you can win. And that's kind of like what it's about. It's to give everyone a chance to win it.
Yeah. So for finally, last question, 2025, what would you take as a win?
20 cars on the grid. The benefit of the spectators, have some good racing, clean racing. The spectators, I think they're going to get a shock, the drivers, because there's going to be even more people there. You know, they need to understand people that come and race with us. You know, we're not in a small place anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I watched that truck race, fireworks race. I mean, that was ridiculous. And you know, what a great headline: trucks and touring cars.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we've hit on something. Maybe it's something that, you know, we're not trying to take over anything because we're part of Bart now. We're working with the same people that are running BTC. So,
yeah.
You know, the more successful TCR can be now, he's going to be better for BTC because there's going to be drivers who are going to get noticed that would never get in a car like this, and they're going to maybe enable them to get sponsorship to go on that grid. And that's what it's about, because that grid, when I was in it, you know, what people fail to remember, I was a BTC driver. There was 32 cars on the grid. There was always a race going on. There was always it was interesting, more interesting because there was more people out there. You know, need to get to that level. And, you know, racing needs to be between 20 and 25 cars at least, doesn't it?
Yep.
So that, you know, that's what we're doing.
So the Max Hall at the Autosport Show 2025, going to make your British touring car debut this year. How does that feel?
Honestly, mate, I'm lost for words. This has been the end goal for me for quite a while, and to get here so early, I'm just really happy and can't wait.
You've been racing minis last year. Obviously, Dan stepped up. Your turn to step up. I think minis is still a good place for touring car drivers to develop skills?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the cars are pretty similar. The racing's pretty similar, so I reckon minis is the perfect place to try and hone your skills getting into this.
You've had a test in it. What's the starting procedure like compared to? Have you done any like?
No, I haven't had to start up from like the line yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've just put a standard start procedure, ignition, then on.
Yeah.
I haven't had to pull off the line or anything like that yet. That's for another day.
But once you pulled out the pits for the first time, what's the main differences between a touring car and a mini in terms of the handles?
In a mini, like after a while, you sit there and it's just like going for a Sunday drive, but in that, head just pin back like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just a bit more powerful. But obviously, after like a few hours in the car, it's just like normal again.
Yeah. So it was that quick, and you just.
Yeah. Honestly, after a few hours in the car, it's just like normal.
So, what's your aims for 2025?
To be fair, I don't really have any specific aims. I just want to do as well as I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll up to round one and just see what happens.
Is this design going to carry over because of it? Obviously, I don't think the lights are going to be legal, but carrying over from last year, this brand's going to be popular if you carry it on like this. Is that an idea?
Oh, well, yeah, obviously it's just a test livery at the minute.
Yeah.
But we really want to get to as close to this as we can, but don't know if that's going to happen yet.
Yeah. We've got Dexter joining you in the team, and you're both young drivers. Dexter's got 2 years experience behind, but I understand you only met him yesterday, so how did that start off the relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I've only spoke to him quickly because we were both busy yesterday, but seems like a nice guy and can't wait to get the season started with him.
So when was it that, when was the decision made to step up? Was it something that you were looking at during the season, last season, or post-season?
A bit of both, really. We were we wanted to do a test just to see if it could happen. Touring car's been the end goal for us for years. But we had an opportunity to go for a test with Unlimited, done the test, and it sort of just went from there.
So when you roll out for obviously you'll get a couple of the official test days at Croft and the test at April, but when it runs out in the back end of April at Donington for the first round, that first practice session, is it going to feel a little bit unreal getting on the track with people like Ash Sutton?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been watching them for years, following the BTCC, so it's certainly an honour to be on the same grid as them.
Is there any chance any merchandise for this?
Yeah, I think we're going to try and work on some for this season.
And Long-term future, has it always been to go touring cars, or would you like try GTs or anything like later on?
To be honest, just going to have to see what happens over the coming years.
And yes, this is the end of the video. Yes, this is the end of the day. Well, I filmed the intro just there. A number of people said, Autosport's not as good as it used to be, etc, etc, etc. But as a networking event, still been worthwhile for me. And I did particularly like the F1 grid walk. I wish there could have been more touring cars here. I wish there could have been more touring car stuff here. If I'd been able to come on Friday, I would have been able to bring you more interviews. But if you have a look on touringcarmagazine.co.uk, and the link will be in the description below, we'll have the gossip column. Because there's some interesting things that have been said at this year's show, some of which people will not see on record, and I'm not allowed to say some of it. Whereas some of the other stuff, clearly glue sniffing's back in fashion, because some of the rumours and stories I've heard will not come to pass, but you might have a laugh reading them, and some of them might come true. Anyway, Mick Palmer, Touring Car Magazine, absolutely knackered, going to McDonald's. Until next time.